The wrestling world just witnessed the impossible. Jon Moxley, the man who bled for AEW, who carried the company on his broken back for 6 years, just walked away from everything. Last night at All in Texas, after losing the AEW World Championship in a brutal Texas death match, Moxley did something that sent shockwaves through every wrestling fan on the planet. He left his gloves in the ring and walked out without a word. But here's the bombshell that's about to break the internet. WWE insiders are confirming that his return to the company he once called a creative prison is not just possible, it's imminent. This isn't just another wrestling story. This is the moment that will reshape the entire industry. Stick around because what I'm about to reveal about Moxley's next move will blow your mind, and the evidence I've uncovered suggests SummerSlam 2025 is about to become the most explosive event in wrestling history. Today we're diving into the biggest story to hit wrestling in 2025. What you're about to hear isn't speculation, it's based on insider reports, social media evidence, and a pattern of behavior that points to one inevitable conclusion. Jon Moxley's AEW chapter is over, and his WWE return is closer than anyone imagined. To understand the magnitude of this moment, you need to know that Moxley wasn't just another wrestler in AEW, he was the soul of the company. When he left WWE in 2019 as Dean Ambrose, citing creative frustrations and feeling like a dancing monkey, he found his true calling in All Elite Wrestling. He became a 4-time AEW World Champion, the face of violence, and the heart of everything AEW represented. But after 6 years of bloodshed and glory, something changed. And what happened at All in Texas wasn't just the end of a championship reign, it was the end of an era. Let me paint you the picture of what went down at Globe Life Field on July 12, 2025. This wasn't just any match. This was a Texas death match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. When I say this was a war, I mean it literally. Barbed wire, glass bottles, steel chairs, these two men left pieces of themselves in that ring. Moxley's Death Riders faction, including Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Marina Shafir, gave him every advantage possible. They swarmed the ring like vultures, targeting Page with ruthless precision. But then something incredible happened. The tide turned in the most dramatic fashion possible. Swerve Strickland emerged from the crowd, followed by Will Ospreay, and then, in a moment that made the entire arena lose their minds, Bryan Danielson returned to even the odds. Prince Nana handcuffed Shafir, Swerve took out the Young Bucks, and Darby Allin hit a coffin drop that cleared the Death Riders from the ring. In that chaos, Page managed to choke out Moxley with a steel chain, forcing the man who never quits to tap out. But here's what sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. Moxley didn't cut a promo, didn't shake hands, and didn't even acknowledge the crowd. He simply removed his gloves, placed them in the center of the ring, and walked out. Social media exploded instantly. Fans on Twitter were buzzing with theories, with one user posting, "Moxley dropping the title and leaving his gloves means he's WWE bound. SummerSlam return confirmed." The symbolism was unmistakable. This was Moxley's goodbye to AEW. Now here's where this story gets absolutely wild, and I've got the receipts to prove it. According to multiple sources within WWE, including reports from Sportskeeda and Wrestling News Source, talks between Moxley and WWE have been happening behind closed doors for weeks. But get this, AEW officials were completely blindsided by Moxley's actions at All In. No one in Tony Khan's inner circle expected him to symbolically end his tenure by leaving his gloves in the ring. The real bombshell came hours after the event when WWE insiders started leaking information that will blow your mind. One source, speaking on condition of anonymity, said it's not a matter of if Moxley returns to WWE, it's when, and it's sooner than anyone thinks. But here's the detail that convinced me this is legitimate. Seth Rollins was caught on camera backstage watching Moxley's exit, and his expression was unreadable. Was he excited about a potential Shield reunion, or was he bracing for war with his former brother? The evidence keeps piling up. Karrion Kross recently hinted at wanting a rematch with Moxley in WWE, posting on social media, "I hope he comes back so we can finish what we started." Triple H's creative team has reportedly been discussing storylines involving Moxley's return for months. And here's the kicker, WWE's current landscape is perfectly positioned for Moxley's arrival, with Paul Heyman's new faction dominating Raw and Solo Sikoa's rebuilt bloodline controlling SmackDown. Moxley's return could be the spark that ignites an all-out war across both brands. AEW is now facing its biggest crisis since the company launched in 2019. Moxley wasn't just a wrestler, he was the backbone of everything Tony Khan built. His departure leaves a massive void that won't be easy to fill. Hangman Page, the new champion, has the momentum and the fan support, but can he carry the company the way Moxley did? Page is a lone wolf by nature, preferring to work alone rather than lead factions or carry promotional responsibilities. The other contenders each bring something different to the table. Swerve Strickland has the charisma and mic skills to be a top guy, but he's still building his credibility as a main event player. Will Ospreay brings incredible in-ring brilliance and international appeal, but his character work still needs development. Then there's the wild card. What happens to the Death Riders faction? Will Claudio Castagnoli step up as the new leader, or will Wheeler Yuta surprise everyone by taking charge? Without Moxley's leadership and star power, this faction could crumble completely. Tony Khan is reportedly scrambling behind the scenes, with emergency creative meetings happening daily. The company needs to establish a new top heel immediately, and they're considering everything from turning a beloved face to bringing in outside talent. But here's the reality, Moxley's combination of credibility, mic skills, and willingness to put others over made him irreplaceable. AEW's next few months will determine whether they can survive without their cornerstone or if this marks the beginning of a decline that could reshape the wrestling landscape forever. Let me break down the 5 most likely scenarios for Moxley's WWE return, and trust me, each one would send shockwaves through the industry. First, the Shield reunion that fans have been dreaming about since 2019. Picture this. Moxley returns to help Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns take on Solo Sikoa's bloodline. The pop would be absolutely deafening, and it would instantly create the biggest storyline in wrestling. Rollins currently holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, Reigns is locked in a war with Solo's faction, and Moxley's return could bring the Hounds of Justice back together for one final run. But here's the twist that could be even more explosive. What if Moxley and Rollins don't reunite? What if they collide? Rollins has evolved into a calculating mastermind, while Moxley remains the unpredictable loose cannon. A WrestleMania showdown between these former brothers could steal the show and create a new main event star. Imagine Moxley costing Rollins his Money in the Bank cash-in, leading to a blood feud that culminates at the grandest stage of them all. The third scenario involves Paul Heyman's nightmare coming true. Heyman managed Moxley during his Dean Ambrose days and knows exactly how dangerous he can be. If Moxley returns with a vendetta against his former manager, Heyman's new faction featuring Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed could be in serious trouble. Moxley knows Heyman's playbook better than anyone. He could systematically dismantle the Wiseman's empire from the inside out. Now let me paint you the picture of how this could all unfold at SummerSlam 2025, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. The main event is over, the crowd is settling down, and Seth Rollins decides it's time to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. He's got the champion down, the referee is in position, but suddenly the lights go out. The arena falls silent for a moment, then erupts as a familiar theme hits, not Dean Ambrose's old music, but something entirely new that signals Moxley's evolution. The crowd would absolutely lose their minds as Moxley storms down the ramp, his eyes locked on Rollins. But here's the question that would drive the wrestling world insane. Is he there to help his old Shield brother or to destroy him? The beauty of this moment is that it could go either way. Moxley could cost Rollins the title, setting up a massive feud, or he could help him win it, reuniting the Shield for one final championship run. But wait, there's another layer to this. What if Roman Reigns' music hits right after Moxley's? Suddenly you've got all three Shield members in the ring for the first time since their 2019 breakup. The emotional weight of that moment, combined with the uncertainty of their relationships, would create television magic. Social media would break, wrestling forums would crash, and every wrestling fan on the planet would be talking about it for years to come. This isn't just fantasy booking. Based on the insider reports I've seen, WWE is seriously considering making SummerSlam 2025 the stage for Moxley's return. Let me share with you the real reasons behind Moxley's departure, because the truth is more complex than most people realize. Theory number 1 involves creative burnout, and this one hits close to home. Moxley left WWE in 2019 because he felt creatively stifled, famously calling himself a dancing monkey who was forced to deliver scripted promos that didn't reflect his personality. In AEW, he found the creative freedom he craved, but recent reports suggest he became frustrated with the direction of his heel run as the leader of the Death Riders. The storyline, while intense and well executed, didn't resonate with fans the way Moxley hoped it would. He's always been at his best as a tweener or anti-hero, but the pure heel role felt forced and unnatural. Sources close to Moxley suggest he felt like he'd hit a creative ceiling in AEW, with limited options for character development. When you're used to being the company's top star and suddenly find yourself in repetitive storylines, that frustration can build quickly. Theory number 2 involves contract negotiations and timing. Moxley signed a 5-year extension with AEW in 2022, set to expire in 2027, but wrestling contracts often include opt-out clauses that allow talent to leave under specific circumstances. His symbolic exit at All In Texas suggests he may have already negotiated his release, especially considering WWE sources confirm that talks have been ongoing for weeks. The timing makes perfect sense. WWE is in a creative renaissance under Triple H, and Moxley's stock has never been higher after his AEW run proved he could be a legitimate main event star outside of WWE's system. The wrestling community's reaction to Moxley's departure has been absolutely incredible to witness. Social media exploded the moment those gloves hit the mat, with fans immediately understanding the symbolism. One Twitter user perfectly captured the moment. Moxley leaving his gloves is like a samurai laying down his sword. He's done! The hashtag Moxley to WWE started trending within minutes, with thousands of fans sharing their theories and predictions. But here's what's really fascinating. The fan reaction is split right down the middle, and that division is actually driving more engagement and speculation. Half the wrestling community believes Moxley's WWE return is a done deal, pointing to his contract status, WWE's interest, and the perfect timing with current storylines. These fans are already fantasy booking Shield reunions and dream matches with current WWE stars. The other half thinks this is all an elaborate work, with Moxley set to return at AEW All Out to shock the world. They point to AEW's love of long-term storytelling and suggest this could be a swerve to set up a massive return down the line. Some even speculate that Moxley could show up at Forbidden Door to face a New Japan star or return to confront MJF or Darby Allin. What's driving this story forward is that both sides have compelling evidence. The WWE rumors are backed by insider reports and contract speculation, while the AEW return theory is supported by the company's history of surprising fans with unexpected comebacks. This uncertainty is keeping the wrestling world on edge, with every social media post and interview being analyzed for clues about Moxley's next move. So here's where we stand, and I want you to really think about this. We've covered the timeline, analyzed the theories, explored every possible scenario, and examined the evidence from every angle. Jon Moxley's departure from AEW and his potential WWE return represent the biggest story in wrestling for 2025 and possibly the most significant talent movement since AJ Styles jumped from TNA to WWE. The facts are undeniable. Moxley lost the AEW World Championship in dramatic fashion, left his gloves in the ring as a symbol of departure, and WWE sources are confirming that talks are underway. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are perfectly positioned for either a Shield reunion or blockbuster feuds, while AEW scrambles to fill the massive void Moxley left behind. But here's what makes this story so compelling: we genuinely don't know what happens next. Will Moxley return as Dean Ambrose, embracing his WWE past, or will he bring Jon Moxley's chaos to WWE as something entirely new? Will he reunite with the Shield for one final run, or will he target his former brothers in a quest for revenge? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this the most unpredictable moment in wrestling history. I need to hear from you right now. Drop your predictions in the comments below. Do you think Moxley's WWE return is inevitable, or is this all an elaborate work leading to an AEW comeback? Will we see a Shield reunion at SummerSlam, or are we heading for Moxley versus Rollins at WrestleMania? And here's the big question: if Moxley does return to WWE, should he be Dean Ambrose again or stay as Jon Moxley? Smash that like button. If this deep dive got you hyped, share this video with your wrestling crew, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, because this story is far from over. We'll be here breaking down every development, every rumor, and every twist as it happens. The wrestling world is about to change forever, and you don't want to miss a single moment of what comes next.